Hey everybody, this is Blue, and I wanted to do some book reviews tonight. We're going to do the Creatures and Treasures series from Iron Crown Enterprises, the makers of Rolemaster. The first one is this beautiful book right here. C&T number 1 was published in 1985. It is 97 pages long, if I remember right. 98, and this is a wonderful book. Iron Crown Enterprises did something very cool when they made this book, and that is they made this a very information-filled source book. Iron Crown Enterprises was a small company when they first started off. And so they really could not be making a whole bunch of books, each book focused on one topic. And that's the one thing I love about Creatures and Treasures, because it is a simple monster manual, plus it has some very cool and unique treasures to it, and it talks about races. So there is a lot of information in this book, and so I was happy to have it, and it was pretty much required if you were going to do any game mastery with Rolemaster. So let's start into it. The nice thing about this book, and it is also its biggest limitation, is that it's a very classical book. The cover, as you can see, we have somebody, I believe it's Perseus, going into this castle, this keep. There are classical creatures around the door, and then inside the doorway is Medusa. And so, there was a lot of good artwork in here. The cover is awesome, and inside is just amazing artwork. Some of it is not hand drawn, because when they do the basic animals, they're just basically using real life pictures in here. And so, well, let's get started. There we go. All right, so we can see, nice table of contents. This is divided up nicely. It's like 50% creatures and 50% treasures. So, well, a little bit more on the treasure. Well, I'm on the creatures, which is good. And so they have a nice introduction, and they're telling you what all the charts mean. Rolemaster, as I've said in so many other videos, is known as Chartmaster. This is a crunchy game. If you do not like crunchy games, and you are one of these people that has to have your little crispy games, rules-like games, Rolemaster's not for you. But they have a lot of charts in here, so you can get a lot of information from the books. Now, they start off with your real life creatures, okay? So like I said, they start off with the real basics. They got them categorized so that they're easy to figure out which ones you want, which I think is better than Monster Manual, because the one that I have, they got them in alphabetical order all the way through. And so it wasn't grouped nicely. So if you were needing information on sharks, like they have here, all the sharks and the rays are in one nice area. And they really did not have that in D&D. So, like I said, they're doing a lot of basics. The stat blocks for Rolemaster, I always thought were very nice, full of a lot of information in there, and so they were good. So you can easily, just find your stat block to get the information, but they then had a paragraph or two describing the animals. And so it was very well conceived. Now, when I first bought these, I bought mine I believe in 1988. Gosh, they went through hell with me because I used them a lot. And you can see they got some very good artwork in here. And this is the basic artwork. Okay, now they're starting to get into some of the more classic line. Now, I said earlier that that was their big limitation because they did basically what was in mythology from around the world into this book. Now, there's some dragons, and I love dragons. And so this is something that I loved about the game. And look at that nice stat block. A lot of information for you to use. And like I said, they are using dragons from around the world. If it's in classic mythology, it's in here. Okay, because you are seeing a lot of different creatures. There's composite creatures. And elementals. Oh gosh, and other artificial beings. Nice categorization by Iron Crown Enterprises on their book here. Plenty of information for you. It's worth its weight in gold. It really is. So, I mean, you got to just love the artwork there because, it's just that little extra to it. Entities from other planes. Yeah. So this one book alone, you can do a lot of adventuring and have a variety of creatures. Is it as big as Monster Manual? Oh, heck no. Like I said, Iron Crown Enterprises was a very small company at that time. And so, they could not go all out. But, okay, you've got shape changers and all that, So you can do a lot with this game. Dinosaurs. And again, these are nicely grouped and all that. I know in Monster Manual, they had their dinosaurs grouped together. And I think they had most of their dragons grouped together. But pretty much everything else was left in alphabetical order. And I thought that kind of sucked. Dangerous plants. They got a little bit of everything here. And now we get into one of the nice things. They talk about the different races. And, look at that nice artwork. You got to enjoy that. They're doing the underground races, fairy races. And they give you some a real brief description of each race that they cover here. And some of the more odd races. The other drawback, the drawback that I was talking about is how they stay classical. Well, the reason why I call that a drawback is because they did not have a lot of what was something original for them. And that took away. All right, now we're to treasures. And they did a wonderful description on treasures too. Because they classified them into a power rating scale. And they got all these nice charts to help you, determine like runes, for professions. It just made the game a lot nicer. And here's your stat blocks for your weapons. so that you can easily roll, what type of weapon the person, your character, or the player's character found. So you can go like on your first chart here, type 1 weapons. If you roll a 165, you got a plus 20 spear. That's pretty good. And for all of you that don't understand Rolemaster, for all you D&D guys out there, the Rolemaster is a percentile system based off of 1 through 100, whereas D&D is a 1 through 20. So whatever plus you see on these charts, just divide it by 5. So a plus 20 spear in Rolemaster would be a plus 4 spear in D20 D&D. And so they got potions. Like I said, they did a really good job in giving a wide variety of weapons. And, they start really weak, modest weapons and that basic. But as you progress, you saw that potent item, and it just moves up all the way, if I remember right, to artifacts. Yes. And so what type of artifacts would you get? Let me open up my book here so I can read one a little bit to you. Because they have some, on the magic weapons, they did a lot better job. Dancing Sword of the Fallen Friend. This plus 30 broadsword is also a plus 6 adder multiplier for bard spells. That's pretty good. It protects a fallen yielder, often an elf called Rande, as described in Ringling's Blue Death Blade. 3 times a night, it can fire a bolt of cold fire. Use firebolt table with cold criticals. That's cool. With a 330-foot range, Yielder is immune to hot, cold, and fire, and resists spells as if he were at least 33rd level. Now, this is one of the other things I love about Rolemaster, because D&D limits itself, because your characters can only go up to 20th level in D&D. Well, Rolemaster is supposedly unlimited. You can go up to any level you want to, and that's awesome. So you could have a 33rd level ranger if you wanted to, which means that you can adventure with a group of characters indefinitely. You don't, stop progressing in levels at level 20. Now, the rest of this is your random encounters tables. Now, this is also really good about D&D Rolemaster, is because they have so many tables for you to use. Because right there, you can just see, these are just for water source encounters. And so, you can go, freshwater coasts, lakes and rivers, marshes and swamps. There are so many, specific areas where they got these tables worked out, so that you can always just easily come up with something different. And if you like to do that solo role playing, here you go. You have encounter charts that are going to help you come up with some of what you're going to run into. Conversion notes. Now, this is part I like too, because they help you convert to like RuneQuest. I believe there's a D&D conversion too in here. Miscellaneous tables. All right, this is worth its weight in gold right here. Because there is a chart for stats for each race, so you can actively roleplay it. Some of these creatures would not be playable in D&D, if I remember right. And so here we go. We can have a whole bunch of different creatures. Now, Rolemaster does the 10 stat system. That's strength, quickness, presence, intuition, empathy, constitution, agility, self-discipline, memory, and reasoning. Okay, and then you got your 4 realms of magic. You have your essence, channeling, and mentalism, and arcane. They didn't do the focus on arcane magic in the first 2 creatures and treasures. And there is your standard resistance roll table, and more information, more tables for you. And okay, the creature index, and you can see that's a pretty good list there. And so there are a lot of creatures in here. Oh yeah, then they're old, plugged to sell more stuff. They had a lot of nice games because you had your Middle Earth role-playing MERP and Rolemaster, Loremaster. It was a nice system. And right there is their last page. And so I love this book. If you needed creatures and all that, this would have been a good book to have if you're doing Rolemaster. However, this book is now out of print, sorry. And so is it worth getting? Yes and no. If you are a collector, yes. But in this day and age, with so many other monster manuals out there, you might as well just get another one because it's going to have a lot of information in it and you can just convert it down. I got this because it's nostalgia for me. To actually have the book, here, is nice. I got the Creatures and Monsters, which is the 3rd edition form, and it was strictly like monster manual, just creatures in there. And it's good, but I always kind of like, I'm in a hurry, grab this and flip through there, and you can go, all right, and they are getting the biting shield. All right, +5 shield, blah, blah, blah. So I enjoyed this book, and you can see that it has a lot of information. The artwork's great. If you are a collector, it's something that you obviously are going to want. So you're going to have a lot of fun playing with this game. And so put your comments down below, like and share, of course. And everybody, please take care. Be at peace.